Welcome to the Lockdown Tactics, where we'll have a bit of fun, big names, big stories, and a mental health message.
Yes, Boydy, incredible. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbeam, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got some massive names coming up. Don't miss it.
Well, this will be one of your heroes from back in the day, Roberto. Yeah, I'll let you introduce him.
Mate. You know what, mate? I've been waiting for this moment to bring a Celtic legend on, to get the ins and outs. So we went back old school, 25 years ago, before he was playing with Celtic. I was 8 years of age, Boydy. Remember watching him, proper striker. He was all round.
To be fair, then, mate, you're in right good company here then, with me and whoever this is coming then.
You just score goals, mate. You don't do anything else, right? This guy was a proper legend. The three names when I was kind of growing up, the Canio, Cadete, and no other than PIERRE van Hooijdonk.
Hi, Pierre.
All right. Good afternoon, guys.
Hi, Pierre. Well, Pierre, let's get right to it. We've got you on. Delighted to have you on, but the first thing I want to ask you, there's so much Dutch talent, but who was your hero growing up?
When I was 5 years old, the Dutch national team played the World Cup final in Germany. They lost 2-1, and everybody knows Johan Cruyff. So he was the first one, that I was looking at. So he is fantastic. But when you're a little boy these days, you didn't see a lot of football on television. So he moved to Barcelona, and we lost him out of sight, or I lost him. I became a little bit older, and then for me, the player that stood out because of his strength, his powerness, his personality, and of course his football qualities was Ruud Gullit.
Yeah.
So he is more my hero than Johan Cruyff, although I of course admire Johan Cruyff as well a lot.
You signed for Celtic the 94-95 season. Tommy Burns, what a legend he was. But how big a part did he play on bringing you to Celtic?
Yeah, massive part. First of all, David Hay came over to watch me in some games, and then actually after I just made my debut for Holland, I just came on just 15 minutes against the mighty Luxembourg. Then 3 weeks later, Tommy signed me, and I never forget that moment that you signed. You guys have been through it as well. You sign a contract, and then you go back to the hotel in which city you are. In my case, that was Glasgow, and you're going for dinner, and then Tommy called me and he said, I'm on my way, wait. So he comes, I'm sitting there with my parents and family, all very exciting. And then Tommy comes in with some VHS videotapes and some books about the Celtic history. So he said, all right, son, watch this, and then you know exactly what Celtic Football Club is all about. And he sat, had a bit to eat as well with my parents, and then he left. But yeah, I didn't have a video recorder in the hotel, so and my English was quite rubbish at that time. So I went to the photos, and of course later on I watched the tapes, and yeah, it was impressive. It was a very nice introduction to a club. What was a big club, or is a big club, but a club that we didn't really know at that time in Holland. Of course, we knew Celtic about the history against Feyenoord and the European Cup. They've won but we didn't see any Dutch games of Scottish games on Dutch television in these days. So it was really hard to understand and what to expect.
See on that, Pierre, did David Hay have to sell you Celtic Football Club when he came over to Holland to speak to you? Or what was it that made you decide, I'm going there?
No, actually, I didn't speak to Davy till I signed, and he just told Tommy Burns, I think that we can buy this guy. I think he's good enough to play for Celtic. So then Tommy came over in my last game for NAC Breda against Ajax, and then he watched me and he was convinced. And then Fergus McCann flew over to negotiate with the club. And that's, yeah.
What was your first thoughts when you landed in Glasgow?
Oh, rough, but more rough because of the. It was January, the first week of January. So you can imagine what kind of weather it was. The people, not really happy, because everybody, it's raining, pissing down, cold, freezing. So yeah, it was at that time the Glasgow looked completely different to me than that 1 week in summertime.
Sorry, just on Tommy Burns, where a lot of the obviously my generation they speak about Tommy as a coach and the funny stories and the banter as such, and you would have probably heard about it, Boydy. But like, was he as a manager?
I think he was good, and he was very good in people management. Because he. His heart was always there every day, every hour. He could make players who were a little bit grumpy or not in the mood, just put an arm around their shoulder and was chatting with them in a good way. So his people management was, for me, fantastic. But saying that, after Celtic, I went to Nottingham Forest, and there I had two old-fashioned English coaches. And looking back to Tommy in these days, he was completely different. He was completely different. But Tommy went to other countries to watch them training, and see why are they doing this. So he wanted to learn all the time. Yep. He wanted his players to learn, but he knew himself. He was a young manager as well, so he was open-minded for new influences in the game.
Pierre, when you joined Celtic at first, they were playing at Hampden. You obviously scored that wonderful goal against Hearts as well. But what was your early memories of joining Celtic?
No, especially my debut goal, because the expectations at Celtic were high for myself, but also they just lost the League Cup against Raid Rovers, what was a major disappointment. So then you wanna, as a striker, you want to start really well, and I was lucky to actually to score a goal, I think, after 9 minutes, and maybe my best goal in my Celtic career. So that kept the fans calm. They started to believe that I could do a job for them, and luckily that went well.
Well, that takes me. I'm going to put my Rangers hat on here now. So you're not going to be happy. I'm going to ask you, how frustrating was it not to get the better of Rangers over the season, winning the titles and that? How frustrating was it? Because you said a good team.
Yeah, actually, not when I arrived. The team where I came in, that was not a team that was Celtic standards. But after the summer, Tommy brought in some players and really good players, and we started to play really attractive attacking football. We scoring goals for fun. We were winning games for fun, but we still could not catch Rangers with Laudrup, with Gascoigne, and of course, I was frustrating because we lost that season one game, but we drew 7, and we still ended up 4 points behind Rangers.
Did you feel as if, see at that time, Pierre, see within the Celtic dressing room, like in terms of you speak about that attacking brand of football you were trying to play, did you feel as if you were a better team than Rangers?
No, I think different. We didn't feel that we were a better team, but I think that we felt that we were more a team than Rangers. Rangers had some pure class individual players who could easily win games for them. But we thought that, and not in August, but in November, we started to believe that as a force that we were probably stronger, but individually, Rangers had that bit. Laudrup was different class, and he pissed the Scottish League with 2 fingers in his nose. But seriously, I never seen a guy playing in a team at the highest level. What makes football so easily, and if necessary, he just put his feet on the gas pedal and then boop, goal, or created something. It was magnificent.
How frustrating was that though? Like for you to, as you say, you lost 1 game all season, you drew 7, but to perform at that level yet not deliver a league championship.
Yeah, but don't forget that we came from far, or actually, let's put it this way: Celtic came from far, and Tommy was rebuilding a new Celtic team. So most of the players, except Paul McStay, Peter Grant, I think they were all new boys that came in, and they knew from the history that Rangers were dominating the Scottish League for some years. So nobody would expect us to change that around immediately. We came in that year, that first proper season, we came unbelievably close to winning the league, but we didn't. Then the year after, the expectations were a little bit higher. So I would probably say that second season, not winning the league, was probably more frustrating because you recognize your own team as a team that would have been capable of winning the league.
I'm going to ask you one other thing before we. What did you feel as if that Celtic team lacked to get over, that finishing line, to topple Rangers at the top of the table back then? What did you feel as if was missing from the group?
Oh, that's a good question. What was missing? Maybe the experience of winning, and saying that the top players at Rangers, they all had played for big clubs in Europe, where there was always pressure on them because they had to win the title, the championship, and the players that Celtic signed they proved out to be very good players, but they all came from smaller clubs, and you have to adapt to that winning attitude. That takes time. I had the same when I started in my career. I played for a team what could not win anything, and nobody expected us to win anything. Then I moved to a club that was challenging for promotion already for some years, and it's a different pressure. It's a different mentality where if we drop some points at that club, the whole week was a miserable week. Yeah. While playing for the other team, we had fun. There was nobody cared about the fact that we didn't win the game. So it was maybe the experience of what is being asked at the highest level, and we didn't have that in our team. We of course we had Paul and Grandy, who were at Celtic already for a long time, but they had not won that much, because when I came, Celtic had not won a trophy for 6 years. So that mentality of winning wasn't really there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Pierre, in 1995, 25 years ago, probably makes us sound old, but you scored the goal against Airdrie in the Scottish Cup final. I think that was Celtic's first trophy in 7 years. How good a feeling was that for yourself?
The feeling was unbelievable, because I started the game actually with an injury. I pulled my hamstring on the loan at Seamail, where we stayed overnight, and we had a game on the grass there with 2 jackets as goalposts, and it was more like a fun game. And then all of a sudden I felt my hammy, so I was unbelievably doubtful for that game. But I wanted to start because it was my first final and a massive one. So I wanted to take part, and I took part. And luckily, Tosh McKinley crossed that ball after 9 minutes, so I could score. But after 25 minutes, it just gave me a little push, and I lost my balance. Boom, hamstring again. So I had to come off. So
you had done your work anyway.
Yeah, the work was done.
Afterwards, you were right, but I didn't feel it that way at that moment, and it was a horrible final, where we struggled to actually score the second goal, but I was happy overall that we didn't score the second goal, because the 1-0
strikers always want to
the man with one hamstring won the cup for Celtic.
Yeah. You said exceptional striking options. You had Andreas Thom, the Canio, Cadete, yourself. What do you think was the perfect fit? Who did you enjoy playing with the most?
I enjoyed maybe I think Andreas Thom, and he is very often he's forgotten, because people are talking about Van Hooijdonk, Di Canio, Cadete. But the reason why I'm saying this is Andreas was so unbelievable, unselfish, that even when he was having the ball on the goal line, he would square the ball for you. He didn't care. That was his job was not scoring 25 goals a season. He scored 10 and he created 15 or 20 probably. So playing alongside somebody like him gives you, as a striker, as a number 9, a very good feeling, because one thing, he creates opportunities for you. And Paulo created opportunities as well, but he also loved, he was dribbling past one, dribbling past the second one, the third, and then sometimes he wanted to take on number 4, 5, 6, and 7 as well. Well, passing the ball would have been a better option. But he was unbelievable to play with as well. George was more. He was the one who was most selfish from the four of us. He wanted just to be in the box, just there, always on the edge, on the shoulder, getting balls in behind, and that combination worked out well with me because I was terribly slow, so I never made a run in behind. So I was always asking for the ball in my feet. But when you have somebody with a threat who is asking for the balls in behind, it's hard for defenders. You know what it's like.
See when obviously you speak there about each striker option brings something different, and did Tommy Burns ever have any ego problems where try to keep everyone happy?
No, not really. No.
Because you say that about Paulo, where he has that that flair to kind of kick off at any moment. Where he had I take it as if the top players have always get that edge. That they have got that feeling at any moment in time. Where there's that's why it makes them probably so special. And see when you speak about there about saying I was slow. I've had that kind of thing all the way through my career where it's like you're a slow winger, Rob. How can you get by people? But you say about being a striker and being slow. Is it very important to have a relationship with your wingers or your Andreas Thom or the number 10 as such to play off you?
Yeah, the thing. If I look back at all the teams where I played for, then I struggled only when we had no pace in the team up front.
Yeah,
because then the defenders were pushing me, let's say, to the halfway line. And they didn't care because they knew one ball over the top and no worries. So when I played with guys who had pace, or that could be one, for example, as well, because when I played with George Cadete, he had pace, and Paulo was asking the ball in his feet as well. Andreas was quite regularly injured, unfortunately, but he became more midfield player at that time. But it's for me, it's vital that a good combination. There's got to be somebody with pace up front, and then I can do my thing, and then nobody cares. And I was dropping off, on the left, on the right, to get involved. And when I did that in my early games for Celtic, Tommy was always shouting, "Get in the box, get in the box."
Yeah,
but yeah, I was just playing. I was just playing my game.
Yeah,
but he wanted me to be in the box because there was nobody else in the box when I wasn't there. Then George came, and I was still playing the same game as I did before. But Tommy never said anything anymore that I needed to be in the box because George was always there.
Always in the box, yeah.
If Celtic enjoyed Nottingham Forest, why?
No, simple. One reason. I was left out. I was negotiating a new contract, and that didn't go really well. So then Tommy put me on the pressure by leaving me out for an Ibrox clash against Rangers as well. So I was not playing in the starting 11 for 3 weeks, and just before that, I scored 2 goals for Holland against Wales, where the qualifier for the World Cup '98. So actually, I just got back in the squad of the national team, and then I was left out. So I called Gers, who was our head coach, and I asked him. So there's interest. It was at that time, I think it was West Ham actually, and Nottingham Forest. And I said, but I'm here at Celtic. I'm not playing. what do you think is the best thing to do? And then he said, if you play, doesn't matter if you go to Nottingham Forest, they had 8 points in March, so the chance of going down were big. Even if you go down to the Championship, if you play regularly and do your job, then I take you to the World Cup in '98. So for me, that was a massive thing, because I realized that being part of a squad with Kluivert, Bergkamp, De Boer brothers, Wim Jonk, Arthur Newman, Van der Sar, Jab Stam, Reiziger, Overmars, Cocu, that was out of my league if you talk about playing 11. But I was like a pinch hitter where if the team struggled, he put me in, were giving long balls, maybe some free kicks, and then trying to create something. So
see on that, Pierre, sorry. See on that, and it annoys me because it's not until you've been in Scotland you realise the size of Rangers and Celtic. And I mean, I think it was one of the things that Gers, I think, had said to you, if you stay in Scotland, you're not going to be in the national team, but if you move, then you will be. How frustrating is that for a player where you're at a football club that is the size of Rangers and Celtic, yet, to everybody else, it doesn't seem as big as...
No, but Chris, he didn't say that I needed to move from Celtic and Rangers, because he picked me also for that game against Wales when I was playing for Celtic. What he said was that if you don't play for Celtic, then I cannot pick you for the national team. So therefore, I had to move on if I wanted to be part of that squad in France '98. So that was the reason why I moved. It wasn't Guus Hiddink never said that Celtic and Rangers are not good enough, so you have to
No, but I'm saying, like, to the outside world, like, to a lot of people outside of Scotland, they look at Rangers and Celtic and they don't realise the size of both of them. A lot of people...
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, because I'm having a TV show here in Holland during the season, and for years I was talking about Virgil van Dijk, that he needed to be part of the national team, and they were not interested because he played in Scotland, and then they saw a Champions League game, and then they say, yeah, look, he could have done more with this goal. His opponent scored 2 goals or whatsoever. I say, yeah, but at Celtic, where I watched Celtic several times during that season, I say he's fantastic. He's outstanding. They must give him a chance. And then he was ignored for a long time. I eventually tweeted as well when he moved to Southampton. I tweeted on the day he moved. I tweeted like, okay, I would not be surprised if this player, who's still the same player now than he was when he was playing for Celtic, is going to be picked in the first friendly game for the national team. What happened? And that is just based on the label Premier League or the Scottish League.
Could you tell me the lottery numbers for this week?
No, that was my only good guess.
Yeah, big Van Dijk.
Did Fergus McCann play a part in your departure from Celtic, Pierre?
Yeah, of course, because he was the one I had to negotiate with, and he was the one who, on the day that I signed, told me, as soon as you prove to be a Celtic player, I'll be the first one to raise your salary. I was not earning a lot because I came from a small contract in Holland, but I wanted to go for the challenge. And I think after not even a year, I think everybody could see that I could do a job for Celtic, and he waited, and then he wanted to extend the contract. So he doubled my wages, but that doesn't say anything, does it?
He doubled it, but it's still rubbish. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no. The thing is that it wasn't. I felt, and I don't think that I was overrating myself. I felt that I was in the group of our best players, but salary-wise, that wasn't the case. Not even close. After he doubled it on paper.
Pierre, when we speak about Forest, obviously having you on here to try and we need to ask you about it. You went on strike when you were at Forest, and do you have any regrets over that, or are you quite happy that you done
it? No, the only regret that I've got is that after that season where they promised me that they were gonna offload me, Newcastle came in. They offered 7 million. They had paid Celtic 3.5 million, so that was quite a good deal for a first division player, a championship player. But as soon as Dave Bassett put a 10 million price tag on my head, yeah, I felt like, okay, this is putting somebody in the window as promised, but giving a price tag that nobody would spend on him. So at that time, I didn't have the patience to go to France, play the World Cup, and see what happens after that. I just thought, okay, if this is the game you want to play, then if you are damaging my career, then I damage yours. If I feel pain, then you feel pain too. So I stayed in Holland, and maybe, but that's still a maybe. I with a little bit more patience after the World Cup, maybe I would have got my move. But it's a big maybe, and honestly, I still don't believe that they would have sold me, because they sold already Campbell and Cooper, who were among the key players in the team that reached promotion to the Premier League. So I don't think they had the balls to their fans after selling these players to sell me as well.